Thank you for tuning in to the very first video episode of the Lightbulb Moment Experience. This is something I wanted to do for a while now, and I'm glad I can finally put it out. I hope you enjoy it, and thanks again. Today I have a very, very, very special guest. That's a lot of varies, wasn't it? Khairat is an NHS nurse, and she's gone through quite a bit, and when I heard her story, it was really, really impactful. So I thought, why not get her here? Let's have a conversation. Let's get a few insights as the podcast is about, and see where we can go with this. So yeah, Khairat, did that introduction do you justice?
I think it did. Thank you.
So the first thing I just want to say is why did you want to become a nurse?
Oh, okay. I didn't know I always wanted to be a nurse. I just knew I wanted to do something in healthcare. So I knew I wanted to work in a hospital, essentially. I just wanted to care or look after people. And yeah, in a hospital. So I've gone through, trying to choose what I wanted to do. And I thought medicine for a while. And then that ship sailed. And then I thought physiotherapy. And then eventually life just pointed me in this direction somehow. And I just...
Wait, I'm curious. Sorry,
I just decided to go for it.
Let me stop you there for 1 second. You said medicine, so what steered you away from medicine? Because we know, like, you're Nigerian, so
Yes.
we know the whole thing about like Nigerian parents. If you don't study law,
yes.
medicine, engineering.
Oh. Well, my mom told us from the start, because she studied law, and she was like, you can study anything you want. She just doesn't want to hear law. And I was like, fair enough, I'm not a social
For
scientist.
real?
Yeah, she said she doesn't want to hear it. I don't know what issues she
Pain?
had. Oh, yes, unresolved pain, but that was fair. Luckily for her, all her children are science students, so we knew.
How many siblings do you have?
Two siblings,
Okay.
2 older brothers. So I knew I was going to go into anything non-science related. But medicine, initially I thought, Nigerian dream, if you're going to go into something science or healthcare, if you're not a doctor, whatever. And I was like, oh, I'm going to be an obstetrician, a gynecologist, and I'm going to own my hospital. I already had the vision. And no one else in my family went into healthcare, mind you. So I went on that for a while. And then when I got here and started my A-levels, I was like, ooh, it's looking kind of long. Maybe not, maybe not. I just had doubts, and I just chickened out in the end. I was like, I don't think I can do this. It's going to take too long to study it. Why not look for something else that I think suits me better? So I started considering other options, and then, yeah, I just felt I was being pushed. Well, maybe not pushed, but I just got a lot of signs towards nursing at the time I was looking. Like, I meet nurses and they tell me great stories of things they have done. I spent some time doing like work experience as well, and the nurses were amazing. I actually went there to work with physiotherapists, but I was like, nah, I don't think that's for me either.
So you tried physio as well?
I did try physio, but I decided against it again. So when I initially told my family I wanted to do nursing, the typical African, well, maybe not typical, but Nigerian reaction, like, nursing. I was like, okay, maybe not. So I had to consider all sorts of things, but yeah, in the end I went for nursing, and I'm here now, a nurse. Yes.
Cool. So obviously, let's just get straight into the meat of it, man. When did you qualify as a nurse or start like working?
Okay, so I qualified this January at the start of the year, so before the pandemic hit. I had only just started the job. I was still new to it when everything sort of changed because, worldwide global pandemic.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We're all gonna die.
Yeah, pretty much.
2020.
We're all gonna die and we don't know what to do. But yeah, that was pretty much how it sounded to me at the start.
Yeah.
It's funny.
So you basically just got like thrown in, like you're just coming out of university.
Yes.
You've qualified as a nurse and you've been working for what, like a few weeks, a few months?
Yeah, about 2 months, and then the changes started. The cases got into the country, and as a hospital, you just had to adjust because here we don't have isolation centers. Any hospital is going to take a hit in that area. So like each region had to have a hospital that would take the patients with COVID. So we are the biggest hospital in my region, so we were our designated Nightingale Hospital, which would have dealt with the biggest hit if we had. Like,
Is Nightingale, is that like a
famous nurse, Florence Nightingale.
Yeah, but is that like an actual thing people say in healthcare? Like, you are the Nightingale?
Oh, well, since COVID, yeah, they said they designated Nightingale hospitals.
Oh, damn. So you worked at one of these hospitals. You work in Norwich?
Oh, we didn't officially become a Nightingale hospital because we didn't get to that point where they expected, like, hundreds of ventilated patients.
Oh, so that's a good thing. It's a good
thing. We prepared for it, but we didn't get there. So,
okay.
That's a good thing, I guess.
So the stress was there. The stress of becoming a Nightingale hospital was...
Ooh, the stress was immense. Honestly, I thought I had dealt with stress, like, in my life, but nothing prepared me for COVID stress because that was very real. Yeah.
So what did that stress look like? Was it just literally the sheer number of patients, or was it like, you know, the fact that you had to, because as a nurse I know it's not just about like administering medicine and all of that, like you have to talk to family and all that kind of stuff. So was the stress about you seeing people going through these difficult times with other people, or is it just like the sheer numbers of people that are coming with COVID?
It wasn't so much, I think it was a combination of all sorts of things, to be fair. Initially it was like the uncertainty because we had very quiet days, like we had never seen before. Suddenly no one wanted to come to the hospital, and I'm like, where are our usual patients? And we were just concerned because we thought people would be at home with serious healthcare problems that wouldn't come in because they're scared of COVID. And then that passed, and we had cases where people started coming back in, and then the COVID numbers started to rise within the hospital. So we started getting COVID wards forming where you just have COVID patients essentially. And yeah, we were getting moved from place to place. So I moved from my department. I got pulled to work on COVID wards, and the issues with personal protective equipment, aka PPE, and you know, knowing when to wear what, or whether it was available to you, and just having to make that decision whether you could actually do your job properly.
So was that something that was like always on your mind, like whether did you feel protected when you were going to do your job? Like, did you feel like you had them? Because I know normally healthcare professionals wear masks, so that's pretty much easy.
It depends on what you're doing, but we have masks available. Yes, normally. I think it depended on where I was working. Some days I felt protected, other days not so much. But then, as I said, I moved around quite a bit, so different teams, people I didn't know me. I was just an extra hand to help out, literally. So I couldn't really blame, I couldn't lay the blame on anyone, sadly. Well, not sadly, but I couldn't, I just felt at some point there was not much else I could do. Like, I'm stuck in a situation. I have to do my job. I actually have patients I need to attend to, but I can't then say I'm not going to do my job because I don't have the amount of protection I need. Because then, like, if you do raise that point, you may be told that's the amount of protection you do need. So it was just that.
Okay, so let's talk about the numbers of COVID real quick in the UK. Because we know there was more than 300,000 cases, 41,000 deaths in the UK. In the world, more than 21 million cases and 700,000 deaths. So, like, as an NHS worker, like, that worked in the place where you saw the cases and you saw the death and everything, do you think that the world, or the UK first, dealt with that pandemic in a good way, like efficiently?
Probably a personal one. I think personally, the lockdown could have been initiated sooner. I understand maybe there are political reasons or, you know, stuff to do with the economy, but then it's actual lives at stake. And considering the UK had seen other countries go through it as well, and the same thing happened, didn't lock down early enough, cases spiked. I would have expected a sooner lockdown, but we didn't get that, so yeah, I guess that's why we're at.
I think you're just asking superficial questions.
I'm
here for the polemic, I'm here for the pain.
Okay.
So, as an NHS worker, do you think you felt left out by your organization? Do you think your organization, the NHS, took care of its employees?
I think it's tricky. I think it's a mixed bag, So I think on one hand they did, yes, they tried to care for employees because a lot of people with serious conditions or comorbidities that put them at risk were quickly sent home, asked to stay home, stay away. And then on the other hand, I think other people that may not have had such conditions were not assessed. There was no sort of immediate response to, okay, whether or not you can actually continue working. It was just, you're the fit one, you're going to do it, so do it. Yeah, so it was kind of being thrown in the deep end. I mean, now I'm actually very grateful because I learned loads from the experience overall. But yeah, it was, now looking back on it, I'm like, ooh, I made some decisions I probably needed more time to make, but I guess it was all for the greater good.
No, definitely. I don't think you can really blame them for what they did, to be honest, because emergency situation, emergency action.
We've never been through a pandemic before, man. Like
one like this as well. Yeah. It was difficult. Like everyone was under pressure. It was very hard. No one actually wanted to, normally you'd want to lend a hand and help, but everyone was like, I might die. So it was, you think about it and just, so like everyone was a bit touchy, like, oh, I'll do it, but maybe I won't. Okay, actually I will. So I think we were scared. Quite honestly, people were scared.
Makes sense. So what was your experience with it? Did you get to speak to patients and the family of the patients? Like, how was it? Like,
what was the human factor?
What was the human factor? Definitely.
I did speak to patients. I did speak to families as well. I guess it was pretty much the same thing as speaking to patients and families of, what I say, regular patients I look after, non-COVID patients. I think the difference again was that fear, the fear factor, because I didn't know what to tell them and they didn't know what to expect either. Like, no one knew what to say. It was all very early. We were literally waiting and watching, treating symptoms essentially, and just trying to make people as comfortable as we could. And that was scary for us. I know I couldn't hide it. And families, even patients as well. So yeah, it was quite scary, I guess.
So when you say it was scary for you, were they like little, because like, I mean, we all have jobs and we all have communities, were they like, did the nurses come like, oh man, like today's gonna be hectic, we've got like 50 new cases kind of thing? Like, did you guys have like your little community where you spoke about how it was being in those, like, in such a difficult situation? Because I'm sure like you had fellow nurses, like people, like you spoke to people, but people outside couldn't really understand. So for you guys who were in the hospital, who were seeing it every day, did you guys like support each other? How did that go? Like,
I think from my personal experience, it was more through like friendship groups, because I got moved around a lot, and other people in my department I was used to working to also got moved, so we were not together. I was working with strangers essentially, and they were going through their bits and I was going through mine, so it was difficult. I think the only thing connecting us at the time was the fact that we were looking after patients during a pandemic, so the only thing we could, like, we did try, but it's different when you don't really know the person, isn't it? So yeah, we tried our best, especially in times of grief and stuff. We'd try and come together, like discuss what we'd do next, or try and debrief and see what actually happened. And yeah, just had to try.
So on the technical side, how did it happen? So when you get there in the morning, I just want to know, what was your schedule during Corona as a nurse? When you get there in the morning, how does it go? Like from 8 to, I want to know your shifts, I want to know everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so shift patterns are essentially 7 a.m. till 7:30, generally.
So 12 hours.
12 and a half hours.
Sorry, and a half.
12 and a half hours. Nighttime as well, the same thing. So 7 p.m. till 7:30 the following morning. That's if you're doing a full day, of course. You can do shorter days, but that's rare. So when you get to work in the mornings, well, it depends. Again, different departments do things completely differently. But in general, I'll try and run through it. You do more medication rounds first thing, usually in the mornings. So you sort out all the patient meds, IVs, anything you possibly need in terms of treatment. Then the doctor's rounds come up, if they do, not all the time, but when they do, they come around and see the patients, and then you sometimes go around as well, see what the plans are, the updates, give the doctors info about the patients or anything that might have changed or important information, stuff like that. Get the updates and start working on them. So it could be like discharge planning, you'll do that. It could be continuing something or arranging scans or getting, other services involved. So like physiotherapists, for instance, making referrals, trying to get the patient maybe moving again. Yeah, literally anything they need, you help them out with if they can't do it themselves.
Okay, so what's the current situation?
It's still pretty much that basic timetable. Like the structure hasn't changed much. It's just with COVID at the time, obviously, we had to be more conscious with PPE, so everything took a lot longer to do. So, and at the time when I was working on the COVID ward, everyone had their own room, so you'd have to properly dress up.
Well, what does that look
before
like?
going in.
What would you wear?
It depends on the patient again. So at the time, the info was if you're going into a patient that's not having any aerosol generating procedures. So maybe
Please, let's break that down into normal English.
anything producing air droplets at the
Okay.
time, right? So they're not ventilated, they're not having, you're not suctioning them or anything. So you're not basically doing anything invasive that could let droplets spread,
Yeah.
right? So like just the regular person sitting there, you don't need to properly don in
The superhero outfit.
the respirator masks or anything like that. So you
They-
just need the regular surgical mask that everyone is wearing now,
Yeah.
an apron.
Do those work
gloves.
though? Do you think those work? Because at the beginning I heard that you have to get an N95 mask because they're done specifically for viruses and COVID is a
we've heard all
virus.
sorts of information.
So what's your opinion on masks? Because right now they're like,
I think masks provide some protection. I can't say they don't work because I haven't actually had to test them. But I believe they provide some protection, but then they don't last you that long, especially the surgical masks. Because I know when it all started initially, there was word of you have to wear for 15 minutes and then it's no longer effective, so you have to change your mask. And then they changed that to 1 hour. And then it just changed at some point. They were like, with each patient. So I'm not entirely sure where we stand with the masks now, but they definitely still provide some protection, I would say.
Yeah, but I think it was a budget thing because if you were to change masks every 15 minutes, it would be really costly.
Considering we're already short, yes. I would,
Yeah,
I would
definitely,
say.
definitely.
but that's crazy to me though. Like they were telling us, we're short on PPE, health staff is short on PPE, blah blah blah. There was even a time when like literally Boris Johnson said, stop buying all the masks because we need it for the health professionals. And now it's mandatory on transport, it's mandatory everywhere. So for me, I'm just like, for us, the communication has been different. But for you guys, has that been the same? Like when you're working in the NHS, like the directives from the government, because everyone's feeling like unis, businesses, everyone is saying like we don't really understand what the government is saying.
Yeah.
So for the NHS, has it been like a clear, like?
I wouldn't say so. From my experience, no.
Oh, okay.
Because within my organization as well, it was constantly changing. Like literally, they were reviewing guidelines, policies, almost, I would say, on a daily basis.
Daily.
I would say on a daily basis. That's how it felt because it was constantly
Oh,
changing.
whoa!
And it was
Contact
like,
the mic when you speak.
I think it was just because of the uncertainty and research, there was just so much going on. So it had to be constantly reviewed, okay, to find better ways to do things, I'm guessing. And yeah, it was very quick. The changes were very quick and they just kept coming because that's just what needed to happen.
So is that still how it's going? Like, are you still getting like regular updates and stuff?
We still get updates, not as, I wouldn't say as regular because things have calmed
So,
down
yeah.
slightly, but not, I wouldn't say as regular, no. Now it's more settled, shall I say.
We get the whole government briefing and everything. Do the NHS get like a specific thing from the government, or is it like, okay, lockdown is eased and we can now go to this and this and this? So
NHS wise, I don't know of a specific briefing. I think you'd have to go on the NHS website and find out for yourself, perhaps, or Public Health England or something like that. But maybe trust and region wise as well. So depending on the hospital you work in or the region you're in, you might get information specific to you or your area as well. But yeah, I think we're officially going with either what the government tells us. Well, I think that's where everyone is going with anyway. The government helps us.
That makes sense. So, regarding the current situation and the prospects for the future, what do you think is going to happen? Because that's the question that everyone's asking right now. Because Guinea starting next month, like life seems to be back. Pubs are full, people drinking, same classes. So what do you think is about to happen? Do you think this is over from you that was in the inside? Do you think the pandemic is over?
No.
Do you think we're about to live our lives again?
I personally, I do not think it's over. We still have the image or the cloud, I would say cloud, a great cloud of a second wave coming. I don't know for sure whether or not it will come. We have to just wait and see. I don't know. I know they said if there is a second wave, it's most likely going to be worse than the first wave. So,
whoa, why do you hear that?
We need to still be quite cautious. So I've heard we need to be cautious because we don't want a second wave, please and thank you.
Okay, so my question regarding that is, because obviously I got a degree in economics and I'm really scared because I think the only reason why, flex. Because I firmly believe that the only reason why they eased the lockdown, especially in the UK, was for economic reasons. They just couldn't take the fact that they couldn't take that economic data. Just the economy was like, we had like a growth of -2.9.
Yeah, we're officially in a recession now.
-2.9%. This is bad. This is
the worst one they've said, isn't it?
Yeah, the great lockdown. It was worse in 2008.
Yeah.
Like, because obviously 2008 was just rich people doing rich people stuff. But this time it is really like, it's down to the small shops.
Yeah,
it's down to
everybody.
It's affecting anybody. So I really believe that they eased the lockdown only for economic reasons, and if there was to be a second wave, they'll only be the ones to blame, because it is fine that we need to go back in the pubs and we need that all the shops need to open again, but if at what cost, I think, because for you that was working there,
so what's more important really?
What's more important? The economy, because obviously the Brexit and everything, we need this money. We need the UK to be generating money. But I don't know, because the uni is about to open again. Everything's about to work, and I'm really scared because I haven't seen, because as long as it's not over, there's not any case, because one person can start a second wave to me if it goes out there. So I don't know. So all I can say is good luck to you, man. That's like the only thing I can say. Good luck to all of us, but
yes.
I feel for you, because what you told me in like the way it's dealt with, like you guys in the front line, like this is a war against the pandemic, and you guys are the only soldiers. So like, thank you very much for what you guys are doing. So thanks to NHS, like rainbow everywhere. Like
no, actually, we actually didn't get to that. The clapping and everything. Do you feel like what are your thoughts on that? Let me leave that as an open question. What are your thoughts on that? Like, do you feel like you've been appreciated? Like,
at first I did. At first I thought, that's something nice to come home to. People outside their doors, banging their pots and pans and their hands. I felt appreciated at first, but then it went on for a while, and at that point, I was, with the stress and the fear and just being in the situation of, pandemic and having to see everything, I got over it quite quickly. So I was, at some point I think I just became numb to the clapping. I just wanted it to stop. But
the clapping, the pandemic, everything.
I just wanted it to stop, to be fair, but that's how I took it.
Well, thanks for giving your thoughts on this, Khairat.
Thank you
and
for having me.
Yeah, it's been really insightful, to be honest.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So much.
Thanks to everyone who's watched this, and if you're listening to this, I think one message that's really been clear here is gratitude. Like Khairat is obviously grateful to, still be able to do her job and still be helping people, but we're all grateful that the first wave is over, and we're hoping to be grateful that no second wave is coming.
Yes,
also grateful to you guys for tuning into our first ever interview. There'll be more like these coming. So thank you so much, and this has been the Lightbulb Moment podcast. We'll catch you on the next one.
Leo, offshoot question.
Oh, okay.
So what do you think we should do as citizens to avoid the second wave, like you from
Yeah.
I think personally it's just being cautious, really. Adhere to, wearing your masks, not touching your face, not touching your masks, covering your nose actually, because people wear the mask wrong.
Yeah.
Just with the nose hanging out or down the face, you actually need to cover your nose and your mouth. wash your hands and properly wash your hands. Essentially, avoid crowded areas. Just be cautious. Be aware if someone doesn't look quite right. Stay back. If they cough, stay back. Now you don't even need to cough, but just don't touch stuff as well without actually cleaning your hands.
Okay.
A good tip is to have hand sanitizer if you can't wash your hands.
Okay. So yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you so much for that. It's been really, really great talking to you.
You too. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Stay cautious, guys. Stay cautious.